Hello everyone, this is Joakim and Chris from Sabaton, and you are watching Chaos TV.
Okay, so what's up everybody? Chaos TV is today here in front of Elmus Bari in Helsinki, Finland, and we have here Joakim and Chris from the band Sabaton as guests. So first of hello and welcome to Chaos TV, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
So in general, how has the summer been so far for you?
It's been very good, but it's been very wet, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had most of our shows has been destroyed by rain, it seems, you know.
Yeah,
but
almost every show we had.
Yeah, we were lucky on Sweden Rock, was it?
Oh yeah. Now it came a little.
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit.
So it's been a rainy summer for us. It's full with good shows though. But I'm hoping for the show tomorrow to be, you know, this kind of weather.
Is it outdoor?
Yep.
I would guess so.
Oh, okay, cool.
I guess there isn't venues enough indoors for Iron Maiden.
Yeah. No. Well, Friends Arena in Stockholm, right?
Yeah, that's still a 50,000 people arena though. So
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the reason we are doing the interview is because you guys are releasing the Last Stand album in August through Nuclear Blast. So, like, shortly, could you tell us a bit in the beginning about the whole writing process of the album? Did you already started writing material while you were touring with the Heroes album, or did you just start everything from scratch after you finished the album cycle?
well, actually, I think the writing process goes on pretty much all the time. Everybody writes, you know, anything that comes up in their head.
Yeah.
And then we break, you know, I think it seemed like we never took a break on this one, but we actually did. I mean, Heroes took us on a pretty much intense year and a half touring process, I guess. And then late last summer, I guess it was, late August, early September, we slowed down. We didn't take a break really, but we slowed down. We did maybe from September till January, we did 5-6 shows, I guess. And at that time we were really, you know, collecting all the ideas, writing songs from the ideas we had, writing new songs. And then we went on tour in February, March, and then we just came back for 10-12 days, and then we went into the studio. Okay. So it was quite intense. I mean, we never really stopped, even though there wasn't that many shows. The machine was running all the time, if you know what I mean, full steam.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the secrets, that you can basically release album after like every second year because you are constantly on tour. But is it becoming like harder and harder because the band seems to be getting like bigger and bigger all the time?
Oh, there's more and more people to please and disappoint, I guess, depending on the view you look at it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a war you can never win. Some people wanted a band to stay very true to their sound and every album to be in exactly the same style. Other people want a band to evolve all the time and push the limits. And the funny thing about this album, though, is everybody has a different opinion about it. I'm almost laughing because some people told me, "Oh man, this is so cool because it's so new and so fresh. I've never heard you push the limits so much on an album." And then some people have told me, "Oh, it's a very typical Sabaton album. Thanks for staying safe." Like, what?
Okay, so that's quite strange, I guess.
Yeah. I've never heard so many different views on the album.
Yeah.
In 9 cases out of 10, pretty much everyone is very positive about it, which is, you know, really feels really good because we don't really know if it's good or bad yet because we've been, you know, in this album since September, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
And writing, recording, mixing. It takes us a year or at least 6 months after the release to
realize,
to really see what was good or bad about the album. But I've never seen so many different views on the album before. I mean, as I said, I'm happy that 9 or 10 are positive, but they're all positive in very different ways.
So did you guys had like a certain kind of vision what you wanted to the band sound like when you started writing this material? Because for me, I have only heard the album trailer and the opening or the single for it yet, but for me it sounded a bit more like massive in a way.
Actually, we never think about those things. We tried back in 10 years ago to think, oh, should we go harder, faster, softer? But then we realized that's the wrong thing to think. We want to think better. I mean, intellectually, we know not every Sabaton song we make can be the best Sabaton song ever.
Yeah.
But emotionally, we want that. I mean, we stopped actually thinking about, is this hard enough? Is it fast enough? Is it soft enough?
Yeah.
We just want to write good songs. I mean, when we were writing the song The Last Stand, we were sitting down and the chorus that came to our heads was in major instead of minor. And we thought, well, we don't do stuff in major, we're a metal band, we play in minor. But then we said, well, screw it, you know. This is the chorus we like best, and it's probably the chorus that, you know, the most people are gonna like the best. And if we think it's the best one, there's a good chance most people out there will think that's the best one as well, you know.
But the band is like getting all the time bigger and bigger. So when you are making the new songs, do you ever think about like the idea that you are playing for bigger audiences in bigger stages, that the songs need to be a bit more massive in a way? Or is that something that comes into your mind at all?
No, the only
I mean, it depends on what you do on stage. I mean, if you have a more down to earth song, and then you have to make it big on stage. I mean, if you're not big on stage, it doesn't matter which song you have.
Yeah.
You have to put on a good show anyway. So, I mean, but it helps if the songs are very bombastic and epic.
Yeah.
I mean, Sabaton has never been you know, kind of dry small band. We've always sounded big, and that's always what we were going for. In a sense, I guess maybe this is the first time we were actually sounding as big as we always wanted as well.
Yeah, okay. Was there like some reason behind it?
I don't know.
Was it like production thing, or?
I guess it's a lot in the mix of the songwriting and the production. Peter Täktgren is, I mean, fantastic producer, and he pushed everyone. Quite a bit. Yeah, I should see Chris' fingers blistering, you know.
Yeah.
First
hitting you in the back. You need to play.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember.
I'm not better, but I mean, I did everything. I just pushed out ideas, and I pushed myself to the limit. And he was like, you can do better than that. It's like,
but I can.
But I can. But apparently it worked, but my fingers were fucking really bad. Yeah.
Well, musicians are always known to be like quite perfectionists when it comes to their own work, and this is like the 8th Sabaton album. So is it becoming like harder and harder to basically top yourself again?
Oh hell yes. I think it's I mean, this is not unique for Sabaton. This goes for anyone who's in a band and writes music. And the more you write, not only are you competing with every album, because in your own head, I'm not competing with a Sabaton album. I'm competing with the best of all Sabaton albums, you know.
Okay.
So in your own head, you don't compare it to, well, this album is better than this album. You make your own greatest hits in your head, and you compare, you know, that when you write.
Isn't that quite of like an impossible task, since you have quite a lot of hits already?
Thank you for noticing. Now you know how we feel when we make an album. Man, it's not great in the beginning or the end of it. In the beginning, there's always self-doubt. Man, I can't do this. Then there's this one song or two that, yes, I can still do this. But then you're writing, and in the final hour, just before you hit the studio, everything sounds like shit. And then you just have to listen to the other stuff you do, and you realize if it sounds more shit, then it's a good song you've written, you know. It's
I mean, it's always hard to push yourself and to I'm gonna make a better album, because the fans, I mean, if you're a listener and the first album you hear is like Corollas Rex or the Art of War, that's gonna be the best album they ever heard, because that's the first album. It's the same for me. I mean, with Blind Guardian and Iron Maiden, and like Power Slave is one of my favorite ones, and they can never top that.
And it also is true, you know, at a certain point in life, you like a certain kind of music this way. I'm quite sure. I love Blind Guardian, and I think Imagination is, from the other side, is probably one of the best albums. I know intellectually, though, if I heard that the first time today, I would think, that's a great album or good album. It could never be the masterpiece if it wasn't because of the nostalgia or because I discovered it at that point in time. And that's the hard thing about being a songwriter. You're competing with the sense of discovering a new band with a new sound that you never heard before. And the first album you heard, no matter if it's the best or the worst one, in that listener's ear, that's all. It's gonna be the best one.
Yeah.
And when writing a song, how can you, after 8 albums, write something that is very typical Sabaton without repeating yourself?
Yeah.
I mean, it can be done if you're doing album 2. If you're doing album 8, much more difficult.
Yeah. And I guess you are always having those kind of feelings that, as you said, that we have done similar in the past when you are writing like a new riff or something that maybe we shouldn't use this and
there's always a fine line to do. I mean, we try to remove stuff that not stereotypical Sabaton. If there is a certain thing, if it is a guitar melody or vocal line that has been used over the years, and it's not a long one, but the way to end a phrase, then it's kind of a trademark. So okay, then it's okay to keep it. But outside influences that we used before, we try not to use again, at least. And in many ways, I think you got to look at it from a bigger perspective than only one album. A lot of the stuff that is seen as typical Sabaton today, this is the typical Sabaton sound, wasn't the typical Sabaton sound until we did that song or that album. Because that step into the future defined Sabaton for that time. Prima Victoria, for example, is the first time we're using triple harmonies, and get that really big, almost church choirs and sound like we do today. That was a change, because if you listen to the first stuff we did, we had none of that. And then when we did maybe Arto War, we pushed that envelope one step further. We did songs like Ghost Division, which was, a bit harder and more brutal than we ever did. Today, that is the classic Sabaton. So what you do, if you change, or not maybe change, but if you push or evolve in a certain way and it's appreciated, it defines the band and it becomes the classic. If you fail and you evolve and you don't succeed, it becomes what do you call it, a bad evolution. So we try always to do a Sabaton album, but always on every album push the limits a little bit to the right and left and up and down, no matter which one you see it from. But
so did you use any new elements on these upcoming albums? I haven't yet heard about it, so I cannot.
Quite a few.
Okay.
We got actually a Hammond organ.
Okay.
Bagpipes.
Bagpipes.
On the same song as well.
Yeah,
Hammond and bagpipes in the same song.
We got a famous female singer on the album.
Oh yes,
Laura Johnson from Nightwish.
Oh, cool.
She's joining us.
Yeah.
Okay. So once again, pushing the boundaries, I guess.
Of course.
Yes, I mean we don't wanna stand still. That's as I said, I guess time will tell if we did the right decision. At the same time, you want to make the best Sabaton album. It should sound like Sabaton. You also want to evolve, and I guess if we succeeded, that's up to you guys, not up to us.
Theme. The album is like a concept taking inspiration from the famous defensive last stand battles. So was it hard to decide the concept for this record, and where did you come up with this?
Well, we changed into the last stand just 1 month before the recording. We had something totally else planned, actually, and the songs and the theme were just not speaking the same language. So we switched into the last stand, and it was a bit challenging this time, because normally, except for Carolus Rex, we've always done modern warfare. Now we're starting out 480 years before Christ in ancient Greece, and the Battle of Thermopylae, mostly made famous by Leonidas and his 300 Spartans. And then over the course of the album, we jump from everywhere from Europe to Africa to Asia, and we end up, the last song represented historically is 1988 in the Soviet-Afghan War.
Okay.
So that's quite unique as well, that we are spreading so much geographically and also on a timeline. It's never been this diverse before, and I think that is one of the coolest points about the album, that you're jumping in history, but they're all united by the theme that these people made a last stand.
Yeah.
Also, we can take like a bigger step in the music because we can take influences from, because it's so, I mean, Sparta, it's supposed to be epic.
Yeah.
So of course we go that way.
That's the first word that actually comes into your mic, epic, when you hear
Exactly.
the word. Yeah. So did you actually had to like rewrite all the lyrics like 1 month before hitting the studio, or did you already had some lyrics written that you actually fitted into the songs, or how was it?
We never write that far in advance with the lyrics. We scratch the surface and we have ideas for every album. And I mean, we had the plan for The Last Stand longer, so we had already ideas. And our fans had sent us ideas. We had stuff we found, you know, in books that people gave us, stuff that we obviously already knew. So we only scratch the surface and have different ideas. Let's say we always have ideas about maybe 4 or 5 different albums we could make, you know. And then when we decide, because I remember so bad I remember so bad how bad it can turn out. When we were doing the album Prima Victoria, we had a song called Stalingrad. I knew this song was going to be on the album long in advance. I read the Anthony Beaver book Stalingrad, 600 pages. I looked at every movie and documentary. I read even more. And then I knew so much about the battle, and it was old news. Because you know it intellectually, but you're not in it emotionally anymore.
Yeah.
So I didn't know from which point of view to write it. And then, just 2 days before singing the song, I found a translation of a Russian soldier's diary, only 8 or 12 pages. And I wrote the lyrics from that point. So what we do now instead is, just before we start writing the lyrics, we know, of course, which themes or which options we have. Because we know that what happened with the 300 Spartans or the Battle of Thermopylae. Obviously, we knew about Rorke's Drift, The Last Stand. You know, some of these, you have the basic idea. But then, just before we were about to write the lyrics, that's when we hit the books, we hit the internet, we look at the documentaries. Because then we feel passionate about it, and we're discovering it. And that's when you're, I think, most suited to tell that story. Because, I mean, if we know everything about a battle, let's say the Battle of Vienna, we have that on the song The Winged Hussars on this album. I mean, the Siege of Vienna lasted for days. I mean, from which point of view should we tell it? And we only got somewhere between 3 and 5 minutes to tell it, the story. And so that's also helped to focus on The Last Stand. Because The Last Stand is not going to be on the first day, is it?
Obviously not.
So that helps you to focus on, you know, the most explosive and usually most intense moment in a battle.
So in the end, a bit about your tomorrow show with Iron Maiden. So how much are you guys looking forward to that? I guess you have already played with Iron Maiden quite many times, but is it always something that is actually special when it happens?
Yeah, especially for me, because I'm the biggest Iron Maiden fan there is. No, but I mean, I listened to Maiden ever since I could hear music for the first time, so it's a big thing for me. I love it.
How about you?
I mean, everybody in the band loves Maiden. He takes it to extremes.
Okay. So he has like a sacrifice room for Iron Maiden posters and stuff like that.
He has a holy altar of Maiden, you know. It's kind of fun to see, you know, even though we've been doing this for so long. And this goes not only for him, but for many other people. At any time, you know, over the years when we played with Maiden, you know, should we stand, you know, next to the stage, or, you know, should we not watch the show? But everyone in the band at some certain point, he always, I think, you know, after our show is over, oh damn, we only got, you know, 45 minutes until the Maiden starts. Hit the shower, grab a bunch of beers from the backstage and run in. Don't stand on the stage, you know, just run into the crowd, put your hoodie up, you know, drink a few beers and watch Iron Maiden. It's kind of nice that even though the band has been going for 17 years, but we still like to grab a beer and hit the crowd rather than stand on the stage and watch the band.
It's actually nice to hear that you still share that basically passion as a music fan also.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not too many times you get to watch bands that still impress you in such a way as well. I think Iron Maiden is one of the bands out there still doing good shows and good albums, and that shows a lot. And they're in good shape musically. I mean, look at Bruce Dickinson, one of the best frontmen there ever was. I think, you know, in harder music, I guess it's him, Dee Snider, and he died, so he never got really that old. But Freddie Mercury, you know, these guys are hard to beat.
Yeah. So thank you, man.
Thank you
very much for the interview, and best of luck for the future, for the upcoming album as well as for the Iron Maiden show tomorrow. Anything you want to say as last words to the Finnish fans? When can we maybe expect to see you guys in Finland playing the new songs live?
I guess we're looking into that right now, but very early 2017, I guess, is when we're gonna come, and hopefully we can bring Accept as well.
Okay.
Seems that way.
Okay. Cool. Thank you guys very much for the interview.
Awesome.
Thank you.